Dear Tiger being, Tigress, Tiger, this is Ilan and you are listening to Yoni on Air, a podcast about sexuality, spirituality, collective trauma healing and embodiment. Please share this information with everybody who might benefit from it. You can find more about my work on kaliskiss.com. Yoo-hoo, another series in my podcast, and this is an introduction. Just a few minutes of warm-up because the actual episode is me just jumping into the content. So I'm doing this introduction while walking in a rainy forest. I hope you hear some beautiful nature sounds in the background. What I want to mention before is that in this episode I refer to the term of trauma, and by doing so I don't define accurately what I'm referring to. I know that trauma is mainly associated with exceptional one-time events like a car accident or something, and this is a very important definition of trauma, of course. However, the current trauma research field is exploding regarding acknowledging dimensions of trauma that are also defined as developmental trauma during childhood, not being seen for what we are, for the gifts that we bring to the world, not having been given enough safe touch, enough unconditioned attention, etc., etc. There is also another layer of trauma, or another definition and research field around trauma coming from transgenerational trauma. For example, our grandparents having been in war, and we are still affected in our very nervous system with those layers of stress that we have from this time. Transgenerational trauma, cultural trauma, collective trauma, global trauma. So in my work, trauma is a very important term because I can describe human behavior on an individual and global level coming from the neurophysiology that is somehow boiled down by trauma research, trauma therapy, polyvagal theory of Stephen Porges, and somatic experiencing by Peter Levine, just to name a few. So this is my warm-up for this episode. And yes, it is about trauma, it is about collective trauma, it is about saving the world from the background that we somehow have to save the world. So let's say this topic can be heavy. On the other side, I think it's the most potential, most blissful time that we could have been born in. So let's enjoy as deeply as we possibly can. This ongoing question, are we running out of time? I mean, there are people saying yes and there are people saying no. I have no idea. But I think we are asking this question, are we running out of time with saving the world? Because we want to waste time. Because we are not looking for solutions, but we want to be fed with another reason for shutting down again, for not showing up, for resigning. And this very resigning, or this depression, this numbness around our own suffering and the suffering around us, this is our comfort zone. I mean, this is where we are all day long as a collective nervous system and also as an individual one, at least in civilized cultures. So I highly doubt that we can ask the question, are we running out of time with saving the world, out of reasons that are helpful in any way. It's more likely that we secretly want to waste time or want to focus on layers or levels of the problem or the issue that can't lead to any kind of solution. So the basic question around, are we running out of time? I mean,
it's possible that there are experts who say, yeah, we are running out of time and this is how we have to deal with this given situation. Or that there are experts who say, no, I can prove why we are not run out of time or won't run out of time or whatever. But I think the most potent hack around this question is, why am I asking this? It's like I ask, okay, we have to save the world because the global situation is disastrous. So, are we running out of time or do we still have time? I think what we are actually asking in this question is it worth it? And what we are pointing at with, is it worth it, is, do I really have to go into this effort? Do I have to do this job? It's like I wait with my subconscious levels for the answer, yes, unfortunately, we have run out of time. It's too late. We are past the point of no return. And by being given this answer, I mean, every conscious level says, no, we don't want to be run out of time. We want to have time and we want to use it for saving the world. But subconsciously, when we are busy with this question, we are waiting for, we are past the point of no return in order to resign again, in order to shut down, in order to be numb, in order to be depressed and burnt out and saying at the end of the day, oh, I would have loved to be to be part of the solution. But unfortunately, it didn't work out. So it's like I secretly ask this question, or I am interested in the answer in order to not having to show up, in order to be given any direction or any useful level where I really can show up with my energy and my knowledge and my courage in order to be part of the solution. So underneath is still the thing in this project, Saving the World, or still this idea that saving the world is more complicated and more effort than not saving it. And I deeply believe that this is wrong. I deeply believe that it's way more easy to save the world than not saving it. Saving the world is when we hack it and when we are actually doing it instead of just fighting for it or desperately looking for solutions. The moment we really get into the flow and vibe of the global solution or global solutions, this is a big letting go of effort. I can relate so much from my individual case around trauma healing to this global shift that might happen around saving the world. I think it's not only comparable, it is one at the same with the dynamics that we witness in an individual nervous system when it's about trauma healing. Because when we are traumatized or deeply traumatized, we come from a state of shutdown. We come from a state of numbness, numb to that extent that we don't feel anything and that we are not aware of the problems that are really running our life and, in the end, ruining our life. So there is some kind of trippy comfort zone when we are in this traumatized shutdown nervous system state. We really don't feel anything. And by that, we have this tragic luxury that we are not aware of our problems. And this is the whole trick. Our numbness around how disastrous our climate situation is, for example, or the disastrous effects of 5G internet, or the global amount of suffering in nature, of plants, of animals, of other humans. All of this is only explicable by a global shutdown modus or mode in our nervous system as mankind. So when we are in this state, everything, every kind of taking action, every kind of do something here, focus on that, save the world, you need to help us, everything is too much, just because our energy is completely absorbed by maintaining this shutdown nervous system mode. And when we are then in some kind of trauma therapy, for example, somatic experiencing, and we unfreeze this freeze, or we melt this numbness and we become alive, then, only then, and really only then, we realize how much effort it has taken from us 24/7 to stay in this numb nervous system state. And when we become alive and melt, we feel this is not effort, it's letting go of effort. Being alive and active and showing up with our courage and our love for life is relaxation. This is regenerative. It's not shutting down from our outer external world. It's not shutting down from our internal world. It is deeply, intimately reconnecting, reassociating again. So it's interesting that this question, are we running out of time, is somehow popular because all of us are asking it from the numbed out nervous system state, from the shutdown nervous system state that is causing the problem and can never ever in this shutdown state lead to a solution. Because we are asking the question being based on the script that saving the world would increase the effort. And the opposite is the case. Saving the world is so much more easy and simple than we can probably think of in our in our brain. So what I'm interested in and what I consider to be really exciting is whenever I'm asking the question, am I running out of time? Are we running out of time? With all of my focus, staying away from any kind of answer, staying away from any kind of security or safety around the answer or this is what we can rely on, this is what we can know. And instead of that, running into the direction that scares us the most. And that is, yes, we have run out of time. We have run out of time. There is no hope that we can really save the world. And really testing my nervous system then. If we run out of time, how do I want to spend this day? Wouldn't I want to become alive the even more today? It's like, what are we hoping for? What are we looking for? What are we waiting for? When we are asking this question or hoping for some kind of answer or seeking for some kind of knowledge around it. Because in the end, there are two things. Only happy, alive people with life force and energy and some kind of love for life will be the ones being interested in saving the world. So if I'm asking this question, I'm obviously somehow interested in living my life. So let's live this life today and tomorrow and study how I can become more alive every day. There is something where I can bypass any kind of answer and stepping up or showing up with an embodied kind of solution around aliveness anyway. And the other thing is, I think the more maybe catastrophic the future will become for us, what we need the even more is this soft human skill of staying active instead of freezing and instead of shutting down when things become really intense. And to be honest, as mammals being designed for living in a pack or in a tribe, I don't want to die alone. I don't want to die being surrounded by frozen animals or frozen tribe members, and everybody is so traumatized by the past that he or she can't show up with touch and comfort and maybe singing and maybe breathing and maybe some safe kind of touch when I'm dying or when you are dying. So there is like even this test setting. Yes, we are run out of time already. We are past the point of no return. So let's train exactly now what we need to be able to do, what we need to embody anyway, when the answer, we are run out of time, becomes true someday. And that is staying active in a way of staying focused, embodied, and capable of action and capable of empathy with myself and with those around me when things become really intense. And I think by embracing this unhappy end, that we maybe are already run out of time, by embracing that, we make it paradoxically more likely that we are not run out of time than that we are run out of time. So anyway, I'm very often busy with blaming those global circumstances around me and those global catastrophes that we are maybe running into. Yes, I have my days when I blame this outer world. And then in between, I'm so deeply grateful and deeply excited and deeply curious about those upcoming days and times that we will experience and that we will share with each other. And I'm grateful for this tribe that, for example, listens to podcasts like this, and very curious for what will come up. Thank you for listening, and thank you for sharing it with everybody who might be interested in it. And I'm happy about a positive review on iTunes. You can find more about my work on carlyskiss.com.